I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just keep standing for a moment of silence and perhaps keep in mind the victims of violent crime. Thank you.
Roll call.
Mike Bovat,
Here.
Christian Jorgensen,
Present.
Ann Oster is absent, Wayne Pondinas,
Present.
Gerald Swetz,
Present.
Bill Manasopoulos,
Here.
Joe Svetnoff, and Beth Hernandez, present.
Thank you, Beth. Moving on to item 4, public hearing. A, ordinance 1870, an ordinance of the town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, annexing non-contiguous territory pursuant to Indiana Code 36-4-3-4A. Proofs of publication, Town Attorney Joe Svetnoff.
Mr. President, at this time, the proofs of publication have been reviewed. They are in order, and this public hearing is necessary to proceed.
Thank you. Opening remarks, Town Manager Billy.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for the 100 and roughly 68 acres located between State Line and Calumet, from 133rd to 135th. As everyone's aware, there are 4 viable wells on there and a development plan for residential housing.
All right, thank you for that. And at this time, we'll open the floor to public comment. Bear with me on some of the names and kind of the ground rules. Looks like a lot of people, a lot of comments. Grateful for everybody that came out to voice their opinions. And there is a 3-minute time rule. So we'll start out with the public comment with Kathy Yukon. If you could please come up and then state your name and your address, please.
Oh, I must have signed the wrong sheet, I'm sorry. I don't have, this is.
Okay.
What?
This is the annexing part. This is your public comment on annexation. Do you want to, did you want to speak? Okay.
You want to say anything about repetitiveness? Like,
Yeah.
if somebody's at,
Yeah, and you know, one of the guidelines we try to follow is that, like, typically repetitiveness, if it's the same thing being repeated, you know, we just kind of ask that everybody be mindful of that. Number 2, Rick Niemeyer. Rick Niemeyer.
Thank you so much for the meeting today. I'm State Senator Rick Niemeyer. I live on 13304 West 181st Avenue, Lowell, Indiana. I'm here today because I had some calls. You know, I don't think you see me much at your local meetings. I try to stay out of local government. I do legislation down there that gives local government a lot of tools. I come from local government. But this issue caught my, because it's my legislation that's kind of being looked at here, that I 1099 I did in 2014. I did this legislation, I try to be within 3 minutes, but it might take me 4 or 5 here. I'm going to be quick as I can. I did this legislation for the town of Lowell. Had 2 existing plants, a well field and the wastewater, existing and running. So I added to a statute that allowed them to annex those into their jurisdiction or outside their contiguous area, work with the Lake County Plan Commission on this legislation, put safeguards all around it that nothing can be annexed off of this. No usage could change on these properties. Anything that changed on these properties had to go to the Lake County zoning because all the area around it is controlled by unincorporated Lake County and the Plan Commission. So I covered that on the bill I did to make sure that this is one piece for this use only. The reason they wanted it was that they had to do some updates on their plant. They need to put a building up there. They wouldn't have to run to the county every time and go through their plan commission to get this done. Again, I worked with the Lake County Plan Commission director on this legislation to make sure we covered it. I made sure that the citizens around this were covered because if anything was tried to do outside of this, had to go back to the Lake County Plan Commission for approval. And that's where the bill came from. I read it, I've seen what, I kind of understand a little bit what St. John is doing, and not entirely, because I haven't heard a presentation yet, but I've seen what I've seen, that this is not existing well wastewater, I mean, a water field right now. It's not owned by the town. In my opinion, and I went spend a day down in Legislative Service in Indiana, if they want to turn this into a well field, they have to go through the County Plan Commission first and get that done and get approval to put a municipal well field in there. And at that point, then it changes the statute, and now they own it, and it's part of their jurisdiction as far as that particular parcel. But it still doesn't allow them to do any rezoning of that parcel except for that usage that was designated in the 2014 legislation. So that's where I'm at on this issue is the county has jurisdiction here. The county should be brought in. If St. John wants to try to put a well field in, which is fine, maybe they need to do it. They need to go through the Lake County Plan Commission to get this done originally, and then once that gets done, then they can look at this statute about bringing that in. And I've researched it as best I can, and I want the people to know,
And sir, so you're aware, it's your 3 minutes.
yeah, and the council to know that I was very adamant in making sure that nothing could be done off of these parcels, because it was a big deal to let these municipalities do it, and I didn't want to open up the state of Indiana where municipalities didn't go out and grab a piece of property somewhere and think they have the zoning on that piece of property once they get that into their jurisdiction under a well field. It just can't happen the way I read it. So that's why I'm here today, just to give that definition of this bill. It was 1099 in 2014. I was a member of the House at the time, and so that's thank you very much. I didn't answer any questions if you have them, but thank you for the present time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Number 3, Doug Blocker.
Doug Blocker, 10591 Juniper Lane, St. John. Here today, I'm not against the annexation. However, I'm against the procedure. You guys keep on saying how open government you are. I mean, at this point, I'm objecting to the PUD part of the annexation. So far, I've seen no presentation on the Exhibit A as far as the layout, all the uses that the town is doing. I mean, based on Exhibit A, you got 247 single-family lots of 50-foot wide, 169 60-foot wide, 36 only 70-foot wide, and you're having 530 single-family attached townhouses. I mean, to bypass the Plan Commission, it's ridiculous. You did this last time with Mr. Lawton over at East of Blaine. Plan Commission hosts a hearing, neighbors show up, and the developer just goes, too bad, you know, it's already approved, tough luck. I mean, if it's a PUD, where's the plan, where are the house elevations, where are the landscape plans, what road improvements are you doing? I think you're talking about he's gonna donate property for, what, 4 wells, maybe a water tower? Why don't you you're giving them this high density, why don't you making them build those wells? Build a water tower. I mean, anybody can go, the town can go anywhere and buy a piece of property and put a well on, but no, you're giving Mr. Lawton, again, over 5 units per dwelling. I mean, this town board ran on the platform of quality development, not quantity. What have you done since you've been in? You approved Mr. Lawton for high-density townhomes at Parish in 231. You approved Mr. Lawton for 50-foot lots and high-density townhomes that don't even meet our square footage requirement for townhomes. East of Blaine, you took commercial property, gave them high-density townhomes on Calumet Avenue. Now you're doing the same thing here. You're giving Mr. Lawton high-density townhomes. What happened with Olthoff Homes? You said no. I mean, that's your quality development. You said we want no duplexes. We want larger single-family lots. We want more road improvements. We want more landscaping. How come you're not doing this, Mr. Lawton? Mr. Lawton gets anything he wants in this town.
30 more seconds.
But, you know, again, The procedure that you're going through is totally ridiculous. Thank you.
Mark and Kim Holtz.
Holtz.
We have a Mark and Kim. Mark and Kim, the duo. There's Kim, I presume.
Hi, I'm Kim Holtz. I live at 11665 Cedar Street in Cedar Lake, Indiana. We've been there since 2017 where we built our home. This is the first, well, maybe a week ago, is the first time we've heard about any part of annexation. And first we've heard about this development on State Line and 128th or wherever it might be, because we've never been able to see any publication of anything, despite the fact that it was in the newspaper. We were not aware of any of this. We are currently opposed to this for several reasons. First and foremost is that we live on 117th and Calumet. It's a 2-lane road, hard to get pretty much anywhere, either to Cedar Lake or St. John because of traffic. There is so much traffic in our area already that it's difficult for us to maneuver. And as we get older, it'll become even more difficult with this development that you're proposing. I'm not sure where the contiguous part of the encompassment is. We're non-contiguous. The area you're describing is non-contiguous to the area of St. John, from what I can read on a map. I just want to voice my opinion that we are opposed to this development and we are opposed to the annexation of our land and our area and our home to the town of St. John. Thank you.
Leon Ruiz.
I just want to say thank you for letting me speak. I have a lot of people that I live by that are strongly opposed.
Sorry, just, could we have your name and your address for the record?
Yeah, name is Leon Ruiz. I live at 11030 Parish Avenue. We've been there since 1996. Actually, my family goes back all the way to 1958 there. We are strongly opposed to being annexed. We don't want to pay your taxes, we don't want your water, and we don't want your sewage. And I'm speaking for a lot of people. Thank you.
I assume he's in Cedar Lake.
Susan Slivka? Susan Slivka?
My concerns have been addressed, thank you.
Thank you. Sharon Varga? Sharon Varga?
No, I'm Sharon Varga, 12300 Kennedy Street, Cedar Lake. I've been here since 1972, and I love Cedar Lake. I'm really not involved in this annexation per se, but I do have friends who are, and I know I speak for them when they say they are very much opposed to this annexation. They're concerned about the schools, the number of people coming in for the schools, the fire department, the water, the police, the roads, and anything else, the construction that might affect flooding in the area. So I would just like to support the opposition to this annexation.
Bill Purcell?
Good morning, Town Council. Bill Purcell, 8649 Fairway Drive here in town. And I'd like to address the annexation proposal that you're trying to pass through. I don't need to reiterate because I feel the same way that everybody before me feels as far as transparency is concerned, as far as your campaign promises are concerned. I echo those concerns here now. And I'm here to let you know once again that we don't want this annexation. I don't care about any proposed or not data center, whether it's true or not. I don't care about any proposed wells on non-contiguous property. You want to build wells? Find ground that's attached to us to build wells on. But we really don't need any additional wells unless you plan on more PUDs that you campaigned that you wouldn't do anymore. So if you don't do that and you keep your word, you're not going to need to annex any property for wells or a new sewer plant or all the piping and the costs associated with connecting the rest of the system to that system out there. How many right-of-ways would we have to pay for to get that done? I don't even want to think about it. We don't want PUDs in town anymore. We don't want Lawton Developments and his 1,000 houses on tiny lots adding to the burden of schools, adding to our taxpayer rolls so that we have to pay more taxes for more school space and bigger classrooms and to accommodate more students. You get in your car and you drive from north of St. John and you come down to Avco Restaurant or you go to Strachan Van Til to shop, and it's like being in Chicago. It's crowded, there's traffic, there's construction vehicles, there's dump trucks dropping gravel in the street. That's not why I moved here 20 years ago. From Cherville, I came here 20 years ago to get away from all that garbage. And now it's following me here, and I'm not happy about it. And take a look. These people aren't happy about it either. I urge you with all due respect, please reconsider these plans. Please think of another way to make St. John great again. Thank you.
David Staples. David Staples.
David Staples, 11351 Calumet Avenue, Hanover Township. A big concern I have is our wells going dry when this development is put in. We're going to, if it does happen, we're going to need a guarantee that we're not going to be responsible though for our wells to go dry. It's going to be a big problem, and we know that out there with all our people out there. But that's my biggest concern right now. Thank you.
Denise Snyder. Denise Snyder.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me speak. My name is Denise Snyder. I live at 8847 Shilton Drive, St. John. I've been a resident for 34 years. I moved out here for the community that it used to be. This annexation, I would like to go on public record as saying I do not support it. I spoke with many of my neighbors in the subdivision of Sun Meadows. They were not even aware of this. I would be perfectly happy to bring information. I feel like my issues of non-transparency and readily available information have been addressed by other speakers. And like I said, I oppose the annexation, and I would just like to go on record as stating that. Thank you for your time.
Ken Mabs. Name and address, please, again. Thank you.
27340 South State Line Road. I live right on the street that they're going to build this on. My question had already come up. When they put commercial wells on this property and all the aquifers in the area start drying up, who's going to take care of the wells on all those people's property? My other concern was, a little while back, they were drilling wells on that property and they were stopped because they didn't have permits. I don't know if anybody was aware of that. I just thought I would bring that to people's attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Nelman?
Please give me a second. For accuracy, I'm sorry. Yes, my name is Terry Nelman. I am a current resident of St. John. My address is 9500 West, 103rd Place. For the record, I stand behind all these people behind me with this annexation. And main reason for this, my perspective with this is because Lennar is involved. I'm sorry, Lawton is involved. We have a major situation, which we've had, and Lawton has, Mr. Jorgensen had brought in a past meeting that I lost in court with Lawton, I believe it was. I'm sure that's the lawsuit that he was commenting about. The point is Lawton has got knowledge of everything that goes on with these buildings and the way they're built. Lawton took me to court because I made a public service warning on the structure of these buildings, which he has his own developers, his own builders come in. Please, we have a big problem with Lawton, and Lawton is pushing this and pushing this. Please, again, look at the people behind you. I have not heard one person for this annexation. Thank you very much, and for the opportunity.
Dave Zombrun? Dave Zombon? Think I got that right? Z-O-M-B-O-N, Dave Zombon? Okay. Judith Torian? Judith, I think that is. Is there a Judith here? Torville. Thank you. Name and address, please, Judith.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to address the council. My name is Judith Torville. I live at 9170 Mallard Cove in St. John, Indiana. I've been here for 10 years. I can't really top what my other neighbors here have addressed already. I do not want this annexation. I also am wondering why you're holding this hearing in the morning when the working people can't attend. Thank you.
Richard Beek? Beck?
Council, my name is Richard Beck, 15320 West 113th Avenue. I'm a Army VA veteran of the Vietnam era. I came out here right after getting out of service, built a home, made a residence for my family. I didn't do it in St. John because I wanted to be in the county. I still want to be in the county. I do not want to be in St. John. This idea of drilling 3 wells and thinking that you have the ability to force all of the people between here and there off of their property by raising taxes, those wells have to be operational. The sewerage has to be operational. Who's going to fund the building of all of that? Where do you get your revenue? It's going to be the residents of St. John. Now, you raise their taxes to support this project, and what, in 5 years, when you get so many houses out here, now you're going to give them a tax break? I don't think there's a fairy tale that these people will not buy. There is going to be no tax break when the expense or revenue is gone. You're way out of line with this annexation. It's something that can't be done under these conditions. Thank you.
Mary Beck.
And thank you for your service.
Hello, everybody, and all you people that are here, thank you. I'm Richard's wife, and we moved out here 54 years ago, raised 7 children. I worked in the schools, and I know it's going to affect the schools. My children were in there. My children did well. I have a general for a son. I have a dentist for a son. I have all kinds of kids that are out there working and doing good things, and they can't understand this, any of them. My husband built our house every night after work by himself. Do you think that we like this, what you're saying, that you can wreck our wells? Our road on 113th, we can't even get out of our drives because 109th can't get to State Line. We take the water under comes under the street, goes down to State Line. I know how it does it. I fought when they put that tower for utilities up. Why? Because my husband, who was in the service, knows an awful lot about there. He moved up all the way from a man who didn't finish college to a man because they tested him to be a first lieutenant. Yes, he knows what goes on when the divots in the water goes through contaminated water. It hurts your well. And we have proof of that kind of a way because my husband has been on an antibiotic for a year because we might have some bacteria in our well already that got through when that tower went up. I spoke to many doctors and lawyers who told me at the University of Indiana, you may have problems with that well in 2 years, maybe 3 months, but when it's so low and the water comes over it, the contamination goes down, and it hurts people. It hurts people. So I'm asking you, don't do this. You have 982 units of people, units that have been put up, and you only have so much land. It's not going to work. So please, please reconsider. We came out here when there was nothing but a cornfield. My husband got rid of that, built a home all by himself, and we love it out here. And we don't want to take it away from us. So please, please don't do that, because all these people are here with the same stories. We came out, found a place, used the roads that didn't exist, and now you can't even get out our drive because there's so many cars coming up and down. My grandson lives with us. He got off the bus. He almost got hit. And Hanover had to call the police in for the person who did this because they're running so fast. So please, again, don't do this. Thank you.
Tamara Jershia. Tamara?
Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Tamara Jersha, and I live at 13225 West 117th, unincorporated Cedar Lake. I had a few questions, and one of them was, what do you want the land for? So I'm seeing a development, and I have all the same concerns that have been spoken so far. My biggest concern is property taxes. I'm a transplant from Illinois. I moved here for the property taxes. So, now that's might be out the window. Concerns about the well and sewer, yeah, I have concerns about those, and it says that we won't be forced to connect unless our system fails to be compliant. So is that going to be some kind of make-believe thing that we're being made to hook up to water and sewer? I'm not sure about all of these things. I'm really kind of wondering if I can get questions answered. I mean, I hear a lot of people voicing their opinion and asking questions, but I don't hear answers. Is this just question-only time? And
There's going to be comments from the presenters.
Okay. And I appreciate that. And one other thing I'm really worried about is that I'm looking at the timeline for the annexation, and it says September 10th is our public hearing, and October 22nd is the ordinance adopted. Like, it's already happened. Did that already happen? It's in the future. But why is this on, this is your timeline. You know, you're not saying proposed adoption, you're just saying that's when it happens.
It's statutory, so we have to put out our time frame.
Okay, well, I appreciate it, and I hope you'll take everybody's concerns into consideration. Thank you for your time.
Mary Burkell? Mary Burkell? And again, just remind her name and address, please.
Good morning, Mary Pat Burkell, 10733 Beloyan Drive, St. John. I've been here 47 years and moved here because of the good schools. My concern is, and I want all of you to consider a very good adage. It's something to live by. It's a moral code. Do no harm. I repeat, do no harm. Making the limits of St. John look like a Scrabble board. Next thing we know, we'll be down to Kentland because you want to add on so you can get your holy TIFs, which give us, as taxpayers, nothing. Nothing. A TIF zone gives us nothing except taxing to have services provided to developers like John Lawton. And I've lived here too long, and this is a repeat, rewash, do it again, kowtow to developers. Thank you.
Ruben Hinojosa?
Name's Ruben Hinojosa. I live at 11634 Patterson Street, Cedar Lake, unincorporated, Lake County. I haven't been this nervous since my wedding day.
Do a good job, go ahead.
Here's, hopefully I don't go too far astray. My wife says I get in the conversation and I start talking about something else. It could be my age. But anyway, I graduated from Lake Central in 1974. Lake Central was a small school at the time. I think St. John has got much bigger problems than this annexation. I'm not completely against progress and annexations and things to be done, but I need to know how I'm going to benefit, how the citizens of the community are going to benefit from that. I don't know what's in it for me. If there's not anything for me and it's all for the town of St. John, then to hell with it. I don't want it. But the thing is that I think St. John in Lake County has got bigger problems. With the roads, the traffic, it's terrible, absolutely terrible. They usually have two-lane highways on 109th going into Crown Point. Same thing with, they proposed a Peatone Airway and whatever expressway and all this other. We're turning down a lot of things, but I think we're seeing the fruits of that should have probably been really thought out and maybe gone forward with it, because the traffic is just absolutely horrible and it's getting worse. I heard at one time that Shielding Construction was no longer going to be allowed to build anymore because it was just getting way out of hand, all thought the same way, and yet they're still building and building and building. We have more and more people. Here's my argument. I have put several kids through school. Most of them on private school, so I paid $2,000 a month to send my kids to school, plus I paid what the state wanted me to pay for them for the schooling. My kids are out of school. My youngest is 22 years old. I've had kids in the service. I was a policeman in Hammond back in my younger times when I could run and cuss. But anyway, the point is that I pay for school taxes and all these things that everybody wants, and I don't have any children in school anymore. I don't understand why I'm paying for that. The traffic issue is one of my biggest issues. I don't know where to go. I need somebody's help here. I don't know if it's because it's unincorporated, whether it's Lake County I got to go to and that. The intersection on 119th and Indianapolis Boulevard is treacherous.
just yesterday. I saw a guy trying to make a turn onto 119th, and he passed it and had to make a U-turn to come back. I've done that several times. Here's the issue. Is it going to wait? Am I going to wait till it happens to one of my children that they're crossing that intersection and they get hit or killed at that intersection? By then, it's too late. I've always argued that as a law enforcement officer. You don't turn around and do something and expect change after it's already happened. It's too late. Don't let it happen to you before it happens, before you end up making a decision. I think the council here, I need guidance from you. I'm glad for this opportunity. I need guidance from you where to go to do something about that intersection. I can't believe they got 117th on the opposite side. They got a traffic light, they got reflectors, and they got nothing. It used to be when gyms was still open, everything was lit up. You had Christmas lights, you had perfect lighting there for that intersection.
Just so you know, that's 3 minutes, but.
Okay. Let me open this up. On September 14th, 1991, to show you how dangerous that intersection is. It was a Hanover volleyball team that was, girls were killed at that intersection. So were the mothers. I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's how dangerous that intersection is. And I have kids, and I tell my kids, do not go down 119th to cross Indianapolis Boulevard to go north. That says go all the way to 109, take the long way around, because every time the sirens sound, I pray to God it's not one of my kids, and I pray it's not one of yours. But Lake County, St. John, you got bigger problems, and the bigger problems are the traffic, the roads, and everything else. Again, I'm not opposed to annexation. Tell me where the benefit's going to be at, where's my taxes, and so on and forth. Thank you for your time.
Bill Jackson. Bill,
Excuse me.
name and address, please, sir.
My name is Bill Jackson. I live at 11632 Cedar Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. My neighbors were here and spoke. I'll echo what they said and their concerns. My point, I stand strongly opposed. Before I moved to Cedar Lake in 2017, lived in Dyer for 42 years. 23 of those years, I sat on a utility board in Dyer. So I've been in a seat very similar to yours, and I've listened to the residents. One of the things that was strongly opposed and is opposed here today is a PUD. The plans I looked at and the things I've heard today, there are, well, I did the math. The number of units in this PUD would mean 6 houses per acre. Do the math. I live on a 1-acre lot. I can't stand in my house and figure out how you can put 6 homes in that area. And that leads into the concerns that are expressed about the aquifer. If you're going to put that much density and draw that much water out of the aquifer to satisfy them, what does that do to the aquifer? I have a well and septic. I invested in that. That is what we have, and that's what I look to protect. All of the things that we're discussing today lead to profit for the developer. So our tax dollars and potentially our personal resources are going to be used up for profit for a developer. I don't care the name of the developer. There you go. I don't care who the developer is. But if we're going to pass something that allows our tax dollars to be profit, I stand strongly against it.
Ann Garmany.
Hi, my name is Ann Garmany. I live at 12681 State Line Road in Cedar Lake. After reviewing the timeline of actions by the town of St. John, the developer, and his associated companies, and the quick visit by Trump Jr. over the past few months, it's obvious there's been a lack of transparency at getting the complete and accurate information out to the public regarding the annexation of this land. We have no trust in anything you say. There certainly appears to be a pattern of quid pro quo between the town of St. John and this developer over the years and currently. A few years back, this developer proposed over 400 units plus townhomes on the same land and was rejected by the Lake County Planning Commission. Now the proposed development plan has increased to 982 units on the same amount of land. We do not want to be the next Gates of St. John, which to me and many of my neighbors, we view it as an overpopulated, overpriced eyesore with multi-level units that look like a prison as you drive by. I asked the town council, if you were in our shoes, would you honestly want this development next to your own homes? Probably not. We believe this development as currently proposed poses significant threats to our environment, infrastructure, community, and the unique rural character of our area. Increased pollution, including air, water, noise, light pollution, loss of habitat for wildlife. As other people have said, what does this mean for my property values, my property taxes, the water supply to my private well and the aquifer it draws from? What's the rush in annexing this 166 acres into St. John now before you've annexed the other 2 areas you plan on annexing to the north of this land, especially since Lake County has notified you of the legalities you face in non-contiguous property to St. John? Seems very shady to us. This land is in Hanover Township. Who's going to foot the bill when things don't go as planned? St. John, Lake County, Hanover Township? Who's going to pay for road improvements, more schools, more police and fire? My neighbors and I chose to live in an unincorporated area away from city life, subdivisions, controlled by a town, high taxes, etc. Your plans aren't just an inconvenience, but they're a detriment to our way of life. My husband and I are very near retirement age and have spent close to 25 years here taking care of our land and the surrounding area so that we would have a nice place to live out our retirement years. And due to the greed of many, including the town of St. John and the developer, we are now instead here fighting for our way of life.
And about 30 seconds.
Remember, once the farmland is gone, there is no getting it back. Thank you for your time.
Larry Postuma.
Larry Postuma, 13130 Road Street, Cedar Lake, or actually unincorporated Hanover. I'm going to echo what my neighbors have said. I work in Chicago. I've worked for the utilities in Chicago. I've been in that heavy, high-density housing and worked in those areas. What you're taking and what's happening in the Gates of St. John, now you're pushing it all the way to 125th and State Line. If by using wells in this area, just doing a little bit of math, by the time you get from Parish to State Line, and from 109th to 125th, even at an R1, which is 1 or 2 per acre, you're 1 to 2 million gallons per day that you're pulling water out of the ground. If you're going to do the high-density housing that you're doing in St. John already and what you've been approving through these developers, we're looking at 5 to 10 million gallons of water per day coming out of the aquifer, and this is a low-density soil. It's not like the Lake Calumet Basin. So my concern is that you are keeping high-density housing, you're letting the developers run this, and you're not taking into consideration the long-term effects of what you're doing. Thank you for letting me speak.
Patricia Chorba. Patricia Chorba.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here. My name is Patricia Chorba. My home is located at 11594 Belmont Place. I'm in the Palmyra subdivision on the north side of 117th. Been a resident of unincorporated northwestern Hanover Township for over 31 years. This proposed annexation of the non-contiguous property at 12863 State Line would adopt the territory between 125th and 133rd. This raises concerns for myself and my neighbors. It would open the door for the town of St. John to annex additional properties, including mine, from 109th down to 125th. This would make all the properties contiguous, and as part of your two-phase plan to extend the town borders in the coming years. I want to clearly state that I do not wish the town of St. John to annex my property, and every neighbor I have spoken with agrees. We are prepared to fight to remain unincorporated. I urge the council not to waste taxpayer dollars on this effort. And it is important to ask, is there intention by the town to construct and operate a municipal facility on the proposed state line property before this council meeting scheduled for October 22nd, when the annexation ordinance is set to be adopted? This property does not currently house any municipal facility operated by the town. According to Indiana Code 36-4-3-4, and as referenced in the September 4th letter from the Lake County Plan Commission, this makes this annexation currently illegal. Again, I urge the council not to waste taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Ron Rodunas? Ron?
My name is Ron Redens. I live at 15949 West 121st Avenue, Cedar Lake. I think that we all here want to say no to St. John. After you see Exhibit A, which it was hard to find and get it because nobody would send it out to any of us, they want to put in low-income housing, 5 or 6 homes per acre, and for the county, you had to have 1 home for 20 acres. They have been hiding this from us. The county and the state say they can't do this, but they're going to try it anyway. We don't want to live in St. John. If we did, we would move there. We don't want your rules and regulations. We don't want your taxes. And we just want to live out in the country and somebody not tell us what to do. I, like others, like to shoot our guns. St. John won't let you do that. Some of us like to hunt in the city limits or in the county. St. John would take that privilege away from us also. We like our animals, horses, cows, pigs, sheep, goats. St. John will outlaw them. People will complain about the smell, the manure spreading, or the noises to St. John. First thing they will do is stop all that also. We don't want that. We have another problem with Trump Jr. being out here. I don't know what the big secret was. Is he here for influence dealing or something else going on? I think the press would like to hear more about Trump Jr. being here. If Trump Jr. is making a deal with the board, question mark, some rich builder, just to make more money and just screw us. They just can't leave us alone. Best of all, they have no permits for this. If they had no permits to do anything, they can't trust anything they say, I hear. What they are doing, what are they doing about Lawton doesn't give us any property. St. John for free security, average guy, and just want to make money. Low-income housing, crime will just go up. You put that many houses or more, our taxes will go up, the builders will reap the money, and maybe people on the board will make some money.
Ron, about 30 more seconds.
But they just still can't leave us alone. The builder's gonna make their money, and whoever else, and we are gonna be stuck. They're gonna have to put up new schools for all these people, and who's gonna have to pay that? The builder's not gonna pay that. They're gonna sell their houses, make the money, and move on to the next project. So who has to pay for the new schools that's gonna go up around here? It's gonna be the taxpayers that's already here. And since there's probably low-income housing.
Sir, just so you're aware, you're past your 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, say no to St. John.
Donna Fatke?
Good morning. My name is Donna Fathke. I live at 10729 Maple Lane in St. John. I'm going to read to you some excerpts from a letter sent to St. John's Town Council just last week by Ned Kovacevic, Executive Director of the Lake County Plan Commission. I do this to make clear the issue that I and several others followed me here wish to publicly comment on. This is a letter regarding the proposed annexation of property commonly known as 12863 State Line Road in Cedar Lake. I understand that the town is considering annexing non-continuous property, and I would like to highlight some concerns regarding the legal requirements and potential risks associated with this approach. Annexation of non-continuous land is only permissible if the property is currently occupied by a municipally owned and operated wastewater or water treatment facility. Based on the information available, the property in question does not currently meet this requirement. The land is privately owned, and no such treatment facility owned or occupied by the town exists on the property at this time. Most of the proposed non-contiguous property is situated more than 2 miles as the crow flies from the southernmost tip of the town, with no clear connection available to link either facility to the town's infrastructure. The current proposal, if approved, would set a dangerous precedent, enabling municipalities such as Gary, Hammond, East Chicago, and Whiting, among others, which face geographical and other limitations, to bypass statutory annexation procedures by leveraging premises of future utility services. In my opinion, such an outcome would erode public trust in the legitimacy of municipal boundaries and the rule of law governing intergovernmental relations. It could also invite a cascade of similar actions across the region, leading to fragmented, governmentally motivated annexations that disregard comprehensive planning principles. It will effectively rewrite the rules for municipal expansion across the state. End of the letter. Several of us have been following the progress of this annexation since July 23rd, the first time that most of us ever heard about this project. That was the day this agreement was adopted by the town council. Even though Donald Trump Jr. made a peppy little speech about the partnership with the town, it was far from clear
And
Uh,
Donna,
what
just so that's your 3 minutes, but continue.
Thank you. I'm almost done. Partnership actually was. I'm not convinced that even Don Jr. was aware of what he was talking about. This leads many of us to believe This agreement was hammered out behind closed doors. Sure, you say you have followed the letter of the law in pulling this agreement together, but did you follow the spirit of the law? After doing some research, I have noticed that this council is in the habit of passing what I call stealth ordinances, ordinances that are put on the agenda with only an assigned number. There is no description or documentation available to the public before the meeting, and no description is given at the meeting. Ordinance number such and such is considered and passed in a matter of seconds. It turns out that some of these ordinances are annexation agreements that then show up on the Plan Commission's agenda as a signed-off primary plat with no input from the public and no expertise from the Plan Commission. Believe me, that is not the way to gain the confidence of St. John citizens. If you want to win the confidence of your residents back, do what the surrounding towns do. Cedar Lake and Maryville among them, they publish the agenda well ahead of time to give residents an opportunity to understand what will be discussed at the meeting. And they publish hot links to all the necessary documentation so that people can prepare questions and comments. None of this hiding behind closed doors. Everything is out in the open for people to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Jane Wallace, 13001 Waverly Court in St. John. Cubs fans might remember a quote from Theo Epstein, former president of baseball operations. When he re-upped with the Cubs right before they won the World Series, he said, "The strength and stability we have now is a reflection of what happens when there's trust, teamwork, transparency from a lot of people working together." What a great mantra, great alliteration too. It has a real ring to it. Let's apply that mantra to recent events in St. John to consider how the town council has lived up to those ideals. Granted, I don't know if you have ever promoted the 3 Ts as your goals, but shouldn't you? Many successful organizations have. It seems to be a given, not even a lofty goal, for you to embrace to be successful. In the July 24th Times article, Mr. Jorgensen said the partnership should stand as an example in Lake County as to what the possibilities are for the Trump administration to assist local communities. He's referring to the meeting that Donna just mentioned. Donald Trump Jr. is not part of the administration, so that statement is inaccurate and misleading. Was that intentional? Trust, teamwork, and transparency. Our friend Steve Jarzambek has asked Mr. Manasopoulos and Ms. Hernandez repeatedly for all the information from the APRA request regarding Ordinance 1870. Multiple asks, many weeks, trust, teamwork, and transparency. Mr. Kill notarized the documents related to the annexation, asserting that Trump Jr.'s RBCP investment was an Indiana LLC. We know it wasn't because Steve Jarzambek followed that trail. Did anyone think about a possible or perceived conflict of interest? Trust, teamwork, and transparency. Securing water sites and building wells seem like a good thing, but the way you're doing it seems like a really bad thing. It makes us, as citizens, wonder what's really going on. Is what you're doing legal? While it might not be illegal, is that the low bar you want to strive for? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Do you want an informed constituency as a partner in your good work? Part of being good public servants is dealing with the public with trust, teamwork, and transparency. What could you do to inject more of the 3 Ts into your work? How do you communicate with your citizens? Must we rely on the newspapers to get information about our town? This forum does not allow for discussion. Could we have a town hall
Jane, just so you're aware, about 30 more seconds.
And discuss your goals and explain your actions? Could you describe the ordinances and businesses and agendas and post them in a timely manner so citizens can do some research and analysis, as Donna already mentioned? What do you think you could and should do to promote trust, teamwork, and transparency? As a citizen of 30 years here in St. John, I am mad, disappointed, and disillusioned, and it doesn't have to be this way. Thank you.
Katie Hegg, 11600 Calumet Avenue. I've lived in unincorporated Hanover Township the majority of my life, on land that was once part of my great-grandparents' farm. The farmland around us has mostly been sold to developers or is sitting in trusts waiting for the highest bidder. As we watch the area around us change, we are left vulnerable and must rely on local councils and plan commissions to do the right thing. So I am here to ask the St. John Town Council, can we count on you to do what is right for the residents? Stephen Jarzombek made an APRA request on August 7th and received the corresponding documents on August 13th. On August 30th, Stephen realized Exhibit A was missing and made a request for the document. Yesterday, I went to the town manager's office to ask for Exhibit A, as the town had not yet shared the omitted document. Upon reviewing Exhibit A, we found the town plans to place 982 units on only 168 acres. There are thousands of undeveloped acres. Imagine if this pattern of development is allowed to continue. Is it this council's position that this type of high-density housing is suitable for this area? We also noticed Exhibit A was revised on September 3rd, 2025. The revision was made after the request for the missing document was placed on August 30th. If this version of Exhibit A is a revision, when was the first version issued? Did any member of the council see Exhibit A? Did any member of the council even read what they approved? The St. John government website describes the town as filled with quiet neighborhoods, quality schools and churches, a well-planned community close enough to urban areas to make it a short drive there, and yet far enough away to be a refuge of quiet simplicity. Should development continue to proceed unchecked, you might want to consider editing that description to avoid being accused of false advertising. You have people here who are angry. While we all have a responsibility to engage in local government and politics, we should not be forced to become citizen detectives just to have transparency. The way you have served this town is laughable. During this process, my friends and I have had to dig through meeting recordings, submit formal requests for documents that should have been public, and show up in person to demand information that was promised but not willingly shared. You are either woefully incompetent or willingly complicit in hiding your true intentions from these folks. Citizens, I ask you to stay engaged. Keep your eyes on local councils. This area may be changing, but we will continue to hold this council accountable, and we will continue to demand transparency. St. John Town Council, remember who you serve, the residents. Long after the developers leave this area with their pockets fat from trampling our towns, it's the residents who will face the consequences of this council's actions for generations to come.
Rodenez, Denise Rodenez. Denise?
Whatever you need. Okay.
Tell them, Denise.
I'm not a speaker, but here I am again. Name is Denise Redenz, 15949 West 121st Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Okay, I think you pretty much have the consensus of the people out here. Going to try not to repeat the same stuff that we all agree and we all know. I did write it, tried to stay within my 3 minutes here, time myself. I'm a little nervous. Give me a little break here. I want to add something to the start of this. Because we got the Exhibit A less than 24 hours from now, most of our people don't know what was on it. They've all, those that are here know now. So we have talked with some legal counsel. We haven't hired anybody yet, but depending on where this goes, we want to put on record that we need more time to research what this council has done, what all the information is available to us, because we don't feel like we have it all. And that there's a few questions that we wanted to ask, and I don't know if you're going to answer or not, but the people that live contingent to this 166 acres, your town notified all of them with certified letters before you took this action? Does the board have a response for that?
This isn't a back and forth at this
Oh,
time.
okay,
Now,
all right.
Denise, you just,
All right, well,
you have a presenter, and
Okay.
we have other people that are going to
Okay.
engage some of
It's
this.
much easier if we answer all the same questions, which they all pretty much are, with one speaker or just a couple, so that's what we plan to do.
Okay. Well, we just wanted on record that, from our understanding, nobody was notified of this annexation, even the people that were contingent to the property. First, I think 3 minutes is ridiculous for the people who live on the area that we've lived there for 40-some years. And for you to make a decision on my life and my building and everything, it seems like we ought to have more time than the 3 minutes. However, there are no winners here. Hanover loses as well, and St. John loses as well. You intend to burden every one of us with the debacle, so a select few politicians and developers can get rich. This 6 house per acre is ludicrous. St. John doesn't need a slum to better their community. On my street, there are 4 houses. There's a 2-acre parcel, a 5-acre parcel, a 20, and a 25. That's my street. I'm in the annexation blowout zone also. There's 4 families that live there, and with your stipulations, with what you guys want to do, we have to round up 312 families and put them in our yards so we can compete with what you want to give us down there. I don't think that's what we signed up for. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the drainage. You all know that Lawton went to the county. You all know that the county turned it down. Maybe you ought to see what the reasons why the county turned it down. There's infrastructure, there's schools, there's water, there's sewage, there's drainage. There's a lot of issues.
And Denise, just so you know, it's 3 minutes, we continue.
Okay, they had the 450, you guys are going for this big 982. I'll just talk one more thing, and that's on the drainage. 40 years we've flooded out there. Anybody who lives around here knows. The school buses can't get through, the emergency vehicles can't get through. There's a problem. The county knows there's a problem. 10 years we are at drainage boards trying to get the drainage fixed. Your 166 acres is just to the south of that, in that watershed. Some of the people who talked today are in that watershed. All of that water, plus your new 1,000 homes going in there, going to have runoff that's going to come down into our watershed. 700 acres comes from Illinois, from their watershed. What are you going to do with their water? Who's going to pay for that drainage to come off that subdivision and drain all that water? They haven't done it for 40 years. Now supposedly the county has found that we do have a regulated drain, and the county has looked into putting in a new regulated drain. Last year they told us. They were out there this year. You know what they just told me last week? Oh my God. The line that was going to cost you guys $350,000 20 years ago, it's going to cost us $2 million to replace that line now. We don't quite see where that's, who's going to pay for that? That's our concern. Who is going to pay for all the infrastructure that has to be done and taken care of before you guys let this go forward? I just plead that I, like the rest of the people out here, we do not want this annexation to take place.
Rose Klein? Yeah, I'm going to ask for it. Rose Klein?
Hi, I'm Rose Kleine, 12515 Calumet Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. I thank you for letting us talk today, by the way, and I hope you are listening to our concerns and taking them into deep consideration. First of all, yay to everything that's been said pretty much already. I am a land contiguous owner to this parcel. I have not been legally notified from you. I am the one, my farm sits at 12719 Calumet Avenue. We have been in this area for way over 100 years on that farm and have been farming that area for years. This is going to cause another nightmare to the drainage in our area. My land that we own, the creek actually goes through our property and then heads over to the main line down farther. All this water comes to my land. You put cement, you put pavement, you put all this stuff, that's just going to cause me more hell. And we do everything we can. We spend thousands of dollars every year to control drainage for our land. The congestion in this area has gotten to be ridiculous with traffic. I can't get out of my driveway in the morning on Calumet Avenue. I wait and wait and wait. You allow this building to go on, you're talking, and this is only for 2 vehicles per unit, 1,964 more vehicles to be on the roads. If you're talking a minimum of people, if it's 2.2 people per unit, you're talking 2,160.4 people. Now, you know that's even going to be higher. Our schools, even if you have only 1 child per unit, Hanover Schools is going to have to assume 982 more students. And I understand that in the past, you were told, this board was told, that the schools have no objection to the tiffing that you did. That's an outright lie, because I know people on the Hanover Schools boards, and they did not tell you that. I don't think sometimes you're being told the full information. And I don't think you've also gone to look for the full information. Have you driven out there? Do you see it's only 2-lane roads? We farm, we have equipment, we have very big equipment today to farm with.
Rose, about 30 more seconds.
Well, you're going to hear me a little longer. I have had so many close calls. My son has been almost in continual issues with people on traffic. We have had so many close calls. We had a person literally trying to pass our equipment going down the road, and this vehicle pulls in between the planter and the tractor because another car was coming the other way. I've gone to Ileana Christian High School and talked to them to talk to their students about the way they drive when they come out of school. Because one kid almost took my kid out, and he ended up down through the ditch into the field to not hit the tractor, because they don't pay attention. You can't do this. Responsible building is important, and that includes everything from roads to fire to police. We're county cops out there. Those guys are so stretched thin, it's crazy. St. John and Cedar Lake try to help, but it's crazy. Fire department. I mean, it's just unrealistic. You need to start looking at what your people want. People moved here to St. John, and I'm telling you what, I don't have anything against St. John. I come here and I shop. I do things in this town all the time. But people came here because they wanted to leave suburbia, and you are building suburbia. They don't want this. You need to listen to your people. And I'm really tired of the politics, because I know darn well, especially with this developer, you've gotten a lot of kickbacks from him. And that's what buys. And that's exactly how this thing.
It's a little out of order. We want to have civility and decorum, and we don't make accusations.
It's not an accusation, sir. The property at White Oak and
Okay.
on 231, that he owned that property. He presented to you a plan to put 400 and some houses, I think it was on, or parcels anyway, units, on that property. He also, at that meeting, Mr. Kill was his representative, sold you over here. Then he presented another property bill for the 231 parish, and basically told you at that meeting, because I was there, said to you, well, we'll give you a say of the town to do whatever you want in a little business district up front. You can tell us how you want the buildings to look. You can help choose the businesses that go in there. If you let me build these lovely, lovely elevated townhouses. And that's exactly what you did. And then he turns around and gives you the parcel on White Oak so you can expand your parks
Rose,
to do
you've had
that.
5 minutes.
So, I'm sorry, but again, I don't think you give us enough time.
There's other people that would like to speak too.
And you know what? They're going to tell you the same thing.
Jeannie Blanchard?
A quick point of interest.
Jeannie,
You want to yield your time to the speaker that's already got down. No, we're not yet. You can use your time and let that speaker speak.
you know what? That's a little bit out of order. I'm running the meeting,
I apologize.
and we're,
I
you know,
thank
if-
this council for giving the people as much
Yeah.
time as they do.
it's been an hour and 15. We want to have courtesy that everyone has opportunity to speak. That's all we're trying to do.
What rights we have and how we can represent it.
Sure.
You can yield your time. If you want to yield your time,
And we appreciate everybody coming out, believe me, we like hearing what you have to say. Jeannie, I'm sorry, your last name.
I'm Jean Bukite. I live at 13161 State Line Road. My property is continuous with this development.
You're in
All
county
my
as-
windows
you're
look
in
out
county
at
as
it.
well?
Pardon?
You're in county as well?
I'm an unincorporated township, yes. I'm on State Line. And the farmland on two sides of my property is this development. We understand there's going to be development. We want responsible development. We've all had DNR out. We've all had our wells tested already. The non-transparency that has gone on with this, I was not notified. None of my neighbors were notified. This affects us greatly. Ours is a multi-generational farming and residential community. We have been on our own out here. I have been out here for over 20 years, on State Line for over 25 years. I moved out here. I worked my whole life to have my little 7 acres, and I have the least amount of land of all my neighbors. If they're going to build a development, put in a development, you can't even do the mound septic like they did on 117th Street there. Let's have some big lots. Let's have a big preserve with a nice winding trail come down our farmland like that if you're going to develop it. What is this gross megaplex going to contribute to anything? We're looking, our husbands, sons, and grandsons work for these companies that are building all these subdivisions. We live out here. They can't get to work. It's gridlock from 394 all the way past Crown Point. You can't go over a single road east of here. I can't pull out of my driveway. The garbage that I pick up along State Line, nobody's responsible for it. Who's going to work with Will County to make this section taken care of, that section taken care of? Will County doesn't take care of when it floods. You're going to put almost 1,000 homes just south and trap those people whenever there's rain? How are those 2,000 cars going to get anywhere? I always average and go up a little bit, because that's how much it's going to be. There is no infrastructure. You know that. We closed down the 400 and some homes. What makes you think that 900 and some homes is possible out there? I couldn't live out there if I didn't own a gun. The crime that has come out there from just the development that has been done is outrageous. People just pull into your property. Nobody would ever do that to you out here before. No one would ever do that to you before out here. This is not a way for us to live after we worked off for this. And what you're looking at with Lawton's building, because our people build them, is a future Sauk village. That's what you're going to have at the edge of your town. If these builders have such unlimited funds, let them put in all the infrastructure, let them put in the parks and the schools and everything first, before they bring all these people out here that do not know how to survive like this. I had to wait 17 minutes for the Hanover Township fire truck to come to my home when I had a chimney fire. 17 minutes. If someone made a prank call, we had a whole SWAT team come up our driveway at 2 a.m. in the morning. Kids are out here causing trouble. They used to bash mailboxes. Now they're robbing and stealing and throwing boulders through our patio doors. You have to think about what you're putting at the edge of your town, and don't come give us your leftover garbage. We don't want it. I'm against it 100%. You want to build something decent, send me a notice.
Klein?
Morning, St. John Town Council. My name is Kevin Edward Kleine, and I live at 12490 Calumet Avenue. I am a lifelong resident of Hanover Township, and this gentleman said he was nervous, and he hasn't been this nervous since he's got married. I haven't been this nervous since I got divorced. So anyway, I know some of these issues have been brought up before, but I want to stress that the majority of these people are on wells, as am I. And we want to know what you are going to do if and when our wells go dry. So I am against this for that reason alone, but there's been a lot of other reasons brought up in this room, which I know you are taking down, and I thank you for that. Second, I think it's a disservice to the taxpayers to have a meeting at 10 a.m. when other municipalities and the county have it in the evening. I believe this is to restrict access to speak out against this annexation. Third and lastly, this same property was up for annexation through Lake County in 2022, and I've got registered letters for both meetings through the county. I am an adjacent property owner to this land, and I have got no official notice at all. Thank you for hearing me out.
Bruce Hemming-Gunn?
Bruce Heminger, 11680 Maplewood Place, Cedar Lake, Indiana. You know, I'm new to the area, my wife is new to the area, and we came here to this area to be able to get away from the crazy politics and everything that happened in the state of Illinois. I mean, I hope I'm not finding out that that is, yes. I'm hoping to find out that I didn't walk into the exact same thing that I left. The one thing I can say here from the entire time that I've been listening to everybody talk is you've had this meeting, and the previous meeting that I saw online was everybody praising about this whole thing happening. Well, guess what? Everybody that spoke today, they're all against it. Where are all those people that are supposedly for this? Why are they not here? That's a concern to me. If this is such a great idea, why is nobody else here? That's because everybody's against it. You've got all the people here behind me that are against it. All I'm asking is please serve the people. Thank you.
Nancy? Nancy Speicher?
Everything is good. I'm good.
Okay, Nancy, thank you. Joe De Laurentiis?
Doesn't work that way, Joe.
Joe
Would you
De
let him know,
Laurentiis?
like, before we got people telling how our Robert's Rules of Order are gonna work, you can't pass on your time. It's a good suggestion, but you can't do it.
Hi, I'm Joe De Laurentiis.
Joe De Laurentiis?
I live at 14831 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar. You know, county denied this before. They brought up public safety, especially. Lawton was told that they needed to do a study on traffic, drainage, DNR impact, and I want to know what has changed that you guys aren't requesting any kind of study done before you even go through all this. Now, I'm at the bottom of a hill on my street, and I'm still probably 10 feet higher than where those wells are, which puts me about 20 feet lower than the top of the hill off State Line and 133rd. So that means my well's going to really deplete even more. So I don't understand that. You know, our schools, how much more are we supposed to pay for schools because you guys want to bring people in? You know, the fact that if you talk to these cops that are here, ask them what these multi-units do. Ask them how busy they are. They'll tell you, I know the sheriff, I see him back there, man, he's out by us. We don't have anybody else. Ask St. John, ask the cops what they think. So I just want to tell you something about our roads. Everyone's talked about traffic. So we're on a 30-mile-an-hour road with a double yellow line. 3 years ago, turning left into my driveway, I was being passed on the left, and I got clobbered. That guy rolled 2.5 times in the field across the street because, thank God, I drive a Super Duty. So 4 times a year, 5 times a year, we don't even know. These people are trying to do that all the time to us. They try killing me and my wife. You guys don't get it, man. It's terrible. We beg the cops. They spend time out there, but they can't control it all the time. This is insane what you're trying to do. We don't want your Illinois garbage coming in that creates all the problems. And what do you think's going to happen? How much Section 8 do you think you're going to allow over there? You guys don't care about us. You just care about greed. I don't get it. My family quit kissing the ring 90 years ago, but you guys are kissing a ring just for greed. They did it to survive. I don't get it. We don't want it, all right? Stay away from us. Thank you.
He was the last one on the public comment for the ordinance. I have some names here for public comment at the end of the meeting. Did anybody not speak that wanted to speak? Did anybody not speak?
As to the annexation.
To the annexation?
I think I signed the wrong form.
Okay.
I wanted to, yes. I basically.
If you could just give us your name again then, please, and your address.
Kathleen Kurga, 11806 West 117th in Cedar Lake. I've been in the area for 26 years. My husband has been here for 53 years. Couldn't attend the meeting because he has to work. He could have attended a 7 o'clock meeting. Our concern is several things. We've had a lot of accidents on 117th because people, they think it's a freeway. And the more people there are that aren't familiar with this area, take advantage of that. We had a car roll at the end of the block last week, probably 7 or 8 of them in the last few years, because when you come around a corner quietly to get to our home, you've got people coming at you, many from the school, doing 60 miles an hour, and you have no choice but to go in a ditch. So that's a thing. Everyone's talking about more schools. We're going to need more schools. I'm sitting here wondering where you're going to put them. Where are you going to put more schools? Is there room for more schools? And we don't want to pay for them either, obviously. We've watched everything change negatively. Crime is obviously an issue. They tried to break into our house several years ago while we were sleeping. And luckily, we have a walkout door. My husband's an iron worker. He put a beam across it. I hope they broke their ankle when they were trying to kick it in. But they ran right up the stairs and over the fence. Had we let our dog go out the front, he would have had him. Instead, we let him out the back, and they jumped over the fence, and a car was waiting for them. I came from the south side of Chicago.
Did the sheriff ever investigate that?
I think we called. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. They didn't get in. There probably is a record on it. But I came from the south side of Chicago, and there were incidents like that. Moved to Cal City, incidents like that. When you overpopulate, this is what happens. It has nothing, it's just overpopulation. The police can't keep up with it. It kind of gives people a free rein, who want to do criminal activity. They know that we're too busy. The police are too busy. We had a terrible incident several years ago where somebody was flying down the street in the evening. I'm sure many people know about this. 4 horses had been let out of their stalls. We think they were trying to steal them. Someone comes innocently along, but going too fast, and kills 4 horses. So this is horrible.
It is horrible.
Thank you.
No, I'd be
thank
really
you.
complaining
I
to the sheriff.
appreciate that. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk, but as with everybody else, we don't want, if I wanted to live on the north side of Chicago, I'd live there. We don't want the north side of Chicago here. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Was there anybody else? Like I said, there is another sheet. Sir, if you can give us your name and your address, please.
I'm
I'm sorry to say this, I gotta leave. You open this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance, you should close it with a prayer.
Good morning. My name is Ricardo Silva. I'm on 2665 State Line Road, and this property is next to my property. So now my concern is safety, security, water, and traffic. The only thing is, like everybody says, we own a gun up there. I got my own gun range up there. That this house is going to be behind my property, so now I'm going to stop doing that. I mean, they're taking all the stuff away from us now, building those houses. I mean, I don't know what is the consequences going to happen if something happen. I mean, some of the children walk around the house. Like I said, we got a guns. I moved in 2016, Labor Day weekend. Tuesday after Labor Day weekend, I went back to work. My wife went to school to pick up one of my girls that was feeling sick. They broke into my house. They helped me unpack my own stuff. I feel violated physically for all the stuff they did. So I don't own a gun before. Now what I did, I gotta get a dog, I gotta put a fence around the house, and I gotta own guns. Why? To defend myself and to defend my family. Because I will use them if somebody broke into my house again. I can tell you that for sure. And bringing low income already, I came from Illinois like everybody else. We're trying to leave that behind us, and now they put them in our front yard. It's gonna happen the same thing. I know what happened. It's the reason I moved from Illinois here, to have a better life, and for my family too. I'm working real hard on this property for 9 years to make my retirement home. And the way it is right now, I just finished building a barn. I don't wanna move. It's a nice place. Don't destroy it, please. Thank you.
My name is Tiffany Crate. I live at 11524 West 119th Avenue, and many of these people in this room are our neighbors and our friends. I'd like to use my time to pray over this room and these people. Heavenly Father, every one of us in this room is a sinner. We need you so much. You weren't invited into this place this morning. There is supposed to be prayer, Lord, over every space we occupy. Prior to Pledge of Allegiance, we do not pledge allegiance to this country prior to pledging allegiance to you, Lord. Prayer first. We are so humbled that you would trust us to take dominion over the earth. We thank you, Lord, for your blessings. Please keep your hand of healing mercy on this community. Please give the people who are in positions of power and influence correct godly discernment. Please forgive us, Lord, for all of the ways that we fail to serve you and glorify you. Not one of us in here can come out saying that we have not sinned against you. Please forgive us. And Lord, for those who are not inclined to do things according to your way, I ask you to just infill such people with Holy Spirit knowing that there is a correct godly way to do things, and there is a wrong demonic way to do things. And I command every demonic spirit out of this room, out of every person in this community. The enemy cannot have this community, even if it is I alone who says so. I have the full power and authority through Jesus Christ, my Savior, to command evil out and to usher God in, and we want you, Lord, in every part of our lives. Help us to do the right thing, to cause no harm, and to show everyone around us how good life can be when you are at the helm and when we give you the helm and we ask you to direct our paths in the right way. I pray every bit of this prayer, Lord, in our Savior Jesus' name. Amen.
anybody else that we may have missed? If not, at this time, I'd like to have one of the presenters for the annexation, Mr. Tim Oakes, to come up, if you could identify and give your position, sir.
I'd just like to make one observation, too, before Mr. Oakes speaks, so hopefully we can answer a lot of your questions. I've noticed that the vast majority of people here today against the project are from unincorporated Lake County and/or Cedar Lake. The vast majority of you all, not from St. John. So we are prepared here today to discuss how the impact will of any annexation and what we're trying to do is going to affect you. You can't hear me?
No.
Wow. All right. Well, that's the first time that's ever happened to me. Certainly. To reiterate, I've noticed that the vast majority of you, in fact, most of you all, are from unincorporated Lake County or Cedar Lake. Is that volume good? All right. So we prepared today to answer the questions as to how our annexation will affect those of you who live in these other jurisdictions. But one thing I happen to have noticed that we are not prepared for today is all the complaints and aggravations I've heard about your existing living conditions, your traffic, heaven forbid, all of your break-ins and all of that, and all of you live, of course, in unincorporated Lake County or Cedar Lake, and all of the problems with drainage and other things that you have here. So while we're not prepared to address those, because of course you're not in our jurisdiction, to the extent that we can't help you with those, and I'm kind of surprised you wouldn't want St. John PD on you, that's just my look, rather than the sheriff, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and explain how this will affect you. But as far as your existing problems and complaints go, and it sounds like there's a tremendous amount of them, I would say visit your Lake County Council. They're at 10 o'clock in the mornings on Thursdays. And also your Plan Commission. And you say, oh, come on, but you don't live here, and you already have existing gripes regarding traffic and such. So, hey! The reason is because we're here to explain to you how we will necessarily affect you by what it is that we're trying to do. But it also sounds like you have a tremendous amount of problems. Ned Kovacevic is here from the Plan Commission. He's got a day pass with his buddy. And you can talk to him as well about these existing problems that you've got. We can't speak to those, but we will speak to what the current project is and how that may affect you all. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood the difference between what it is that we're prepared to do here today and what we can't do. So that's why I mentioned that. I understand your point. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear before Mr. Oakes took up.
I hope that clarified some of the questions. And sir, if you could, well, we're,
There are a lot of people from St. John here. They spoke, they told you what concerns are.
Put it all on us. St. John.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just simply looking at the forms and where you're from and making an observation. So I'm just letting you know what to expect.
That explains a lot.
That explains a real lot. You've got blindfolds on.
Really?
okay.
Yes.
All right, listen,
Talk
everyone.
to your governing agency about your existing problems.
Hold on.
Not the future ones.
I'm running the meeting here. Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. Thank you, everyone, for your passion and your input. I'd like, if you could give us your name and kind of explain what you're going to be commenting about.
Sure. For the record, my name is Tim Oakes. I'm an attorney at Ice Miller with offices at 1 American Square. Suite. But if I'll speak up, it would be helpful if you want to hear me. I know it's tough. There's a lot of people in here. But if your neighbor's speaking, you're not going to be able to hear me. You're not going to be able to hear anything. But I'll try my best.
This is getting. Hey, everyone, please. Just, hold on. He's going to speak a little louder. He's going to speak into the mic. You're going to hear him. You're going to hear whatever he has to say. If you're not clear, we'll make him repeat it. Go ahead, sir.
So I'll try to address some of the issues that were raised here. There's a fair amount of misinformation and a fair amount of assumption. The concerns that have been expressed are real. This is where these people live, and I appreciate that, and I understand that. But I can only deal with what the law says, and that's what I'm going to discuss. So first, there seemed to be, and I'm sure other people know that it is not the case, but there seemed to be a notion that more than the 168 acres that is the subject of the proposed annexation ordinance was going to be annexed, that other people's property was going to be pulled into the town of St. John, and they were going to be subjected to the rules and the ordinances of the town. That's patently false. That is not the case. This is just dealing with the 160. Again, if you want to hear me, it makes sense to listen.
Do that one more time.
So that's one. There is no other annexation of anybody other's property that's occurring here. I think that's important to note. Two, the notion that this can be used to expand the town is incorrect. Pursuant to the statute that we are dealing with, this property cannot be used in the future for purposes of establishing contiguity to further annex surrounding property. Okay? What that means is you cannot use this property to further annex any of the surrounding real estate. That is the law.
What about eminent domain? Okay, hey, just please let him speak. Please let him speak.
We don't want it anyway.
Eminent domain does not work to acquire property for purposes of annexation. They're separate issues.
Attorneys will fight that.
So, number two, there is a concern about, okay, you're going to put wells in, you're going to pull a lot of water out, my well's going to run dry. What is going to happen if that's the case? The response to that is twofold. One, when the notion of annexing this property was even first suggested, part of that process involved the testing of this site with test wells, and they weren't illegal. They were removed because the testing was finished, to determine how much water was there, what the quality of the water is, what the anticipated capacity would be. You do those kinds of tests to determine whether this even makes any sense. And that was done, and until the test results were known, it wasn't even worth pursuing any of this. The test results suggest that there is a very good supply of very good water. I assume that is why the town is interested in this, and it has an obligation to provide clean, potable water for all of its citizens. Now, Indiana law says that if you have a well that has the capacity, not that it actually does withdraw 1 million gallons a day, but has the capacity to withdraw 1 million gallons of water a day, that's referred to as a significant water withdrawal facility. And by state law, you register that. That would include the town. And you have to provide certain reports to the Department of Natural Resources involving the water being withdrawn. If anyone in the area, after the well is up and operating, notices that there are issues with their well, it's running dry, it's changing, there's a peculiar odor, whatever the case might be, all they have to do is reach out to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources and and complain. The DNR will then, DNR,
And you don't even know.
DNR can issue what's called a groundwater emergency. They immediately come out and inspect. If it's determined that the well is causing the problems with the other people's wells in the area, then the owner of the significant water withdrawal facility is required at that, at the town's cost to fix the wells. So, that is, look,
Full admission. Full admission. Okay.
so that, this is the law. This is the law. I'm just going to tell you what that is. So, those are 2 comments. 3, with respect to the annexation itself and some of the comments. First of all, in the letter from Ned Kovacevic, there's a suggestion that this is not right because the entirety of the property is not within 2 miles of the perimeter, the existing perimeter of the town. There is a portion of Indiana Code 36-4-3-4 that requires the entirety of what you would be annexing to be within 2 miles, which is subsection B. That section applies only in specified counties, and those counties are identified by population. So it says, if you're in a county that is more than this many people and less than this many, and there's over 10 of them. I think there's more than a dozen. Lake County is not one of them. So subsection B does not apply. He's not interpreted the statute correctly. The entirety of the property does not need to be within the 2-mile boundary of the existing municipal limits of the town of St. John. That would be false. Okay? So, second.
What? Excuse me, hold on. We're going to have order in this meeting. If we're going to have continuous outbursts, please let your gentleman speak, or I'm going to ask that you be removed. We have respect. He's speaking, and then we can engage you again. Go ahead, sir.
So 2, the annexation, the adoption of the annexation ordinance, should it ultimately be adopted, is not the end of the process, and it does not actually effectuate the annexation. It is a step in the process. The annexation ordinance, if it's adopted, then there's a series of things that has to happen after that ultimately culminates in the annexation becoming effective. This council by statute has the ability to adjust the timeline by which the annexation becomes effective. Okay? And in this case, I understand that the town has chosen to delay the annexation until the water and its withdrawal and treatment is operational. And that's the whole point. When what is being proposed here is it takes a number of steps to go through, and you try to put those steps in a sensible, reasonable order to accomplish the end goal, which is to provide a new, valuable, really great source of water for the town. And you can't do everything at once. It's not possible, so you take steps. And this is just one of the steps. And if the annexation ordinance is adopted, it does not become effective the next day. It becomes effective in the future when the property is being operated as a water withdrawal and treatment facility for the town of St. John. So while I appreciate the letter that the planning director for the county provided, this annexation, in my opinion, is legal. It does comply with the statute because of how it's being done. With that, again, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council might have, but this has been designed, the ordinance has been drafted and reviewed with the statute in mind, and it complies with that state statute.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And again, this is Mr. Tim Oakes, and you work with Ice Miller?
Yes.
In the law firm. He is a attorney of law, so, and he is speaking, he's speaking for the presenter for the development.
Is there any other, are there any questions that the council might have of me?
The only question I have is a concern that's been raised, and I don't know if it's a question for you or if it's a question for Joe, but the notifications that were sent out, have we met those requirements, and what are those requirements?
The notice that's required is what is specified by statute. And the notice required only applies to the property owner whose property is being annexed. And there's going to be a lot of people in this room that understandably think that's just flat wrong. And I'm not going to say it's right. I'm not going to say it's wrong. What I'm going to say is that's the law.
Okay.
That's what the law requires.
So rezoning then would require the neighbors to be notified.
A rezoning-
But annexation does not.
A rezoning requires notice to certain adjoining property owners as defined by rule in the jurisdiction.
Okay, thank you.
Aren't you rezoning this property? So should we get a lawyer, since you guys got a lawyer?
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't care.
Are there any other questions I could answer from the council?
I think does anyone else? I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay,
for your
thank you.
comments.
Pretty straightforward. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. We've had public comment. We've rebuttal. We had the public comment.
I understand that, but my question is, how do you guys have to deal with the county? Because this is unincorporated land that you're talking about, and it's zoned agricultural. So how does that have to, do you have to have a communication into the county for this? Because I would believe you should have to be, because it is county land. It's not a town land, it's county land. So do you have to, I'm just asking the question for my knowledge. I don't know. And that's why I'm asking this question.
Go ahead.
No,
This is a quick one. Go ahead, Tim.
I'll answer this two ways. Number one, the county is very well aware of this. The county zoning administrator has written, I think now, 2 letters to this council. So the suggestion that the county isn't aware of it is just patently false.
Are they here to represent?
So, second, the annexation statute in Indiana, again, this is the law. This is what the state legislature has decided that the law should be. You may agree with it, you may disagree with it, but it's the law. The annexation process and the people that are supposed to get notified was accomplished, and that includes any notice that would have been required of the county, and none is required. That is the law.
What do you mean not required?
He's just telling you what the law is. Just telling you what the law is. Thank you for that, Tim.
We can't have a question and answer all day.
All right, With that, we've given everybody, it's been right almost at 2 hours, so the public hearing is closed. We're closing the floor. Excuse me.
So do we have opportunity to ask questions since we're not part of the, because I do have a few questions that have come up that I would like some answers for. Probably.
Tim?
Probably to Tim or the developer who's going to develop it.
He was just asking.
Yeah, he's here on behalf of the developer.
Okay. All right.
Did you have
It's their
more
annexation.
questions, Jerry?
No, I guess my questions are more for the board. One is exhibits A, B, and C. Are they readily available now? And if somebody wants to get them, how can they get them?
So they are available. They were dropped off prior to the public hearing.
Okay.
As required.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then.
So no, I'm just saying, so we came into possession of them prior to the public hearing. That's when they were turned in. So anything that is still out there pending will be sent out.
So all of them were turned in prior to this meeting, except for C, right?
That I can't answer because I didn't withhold anything, Steph. No, I didn't. But I will check and make sure you get it after this meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I guess my other one is, I can't believe we're going to approve 500 row houses. That's just totally ridiculous. But we're annexing this thing in at. We're going to annex this thing in as a PUD.
Jerry, are you asking questions?
I am asking this question, yes. So we're going to annex this, it's proposed that we annex this in as a PUD. In the past, anything annexed came in as an R1. So if somebody wanted a PUD, they had to go to the Plan Commission, they had to go to rezoning, or whatever, and present all of their findings of fact and meeting the requirements for a PUD. Now, one of the requirements for a PUD includes a traffic study to make sure that this development and the amount of traffic that it's going to create is not going to be a hardship or be detrimental to the residents. And I just don't see that happening. I think we still need to go back and have this annexed in as an R1 and have it go through the Plan Commission and the BZA as required in order to get this done properly. Because when we approve PUDs, we don't get the information about whether all the studies have been done or completed. We don't review those. We just say, okay, go ahead. And that's part of the problem with this process.
So at this time, as the council aware, this is the public hearing to hear the opinions of the residents and ask any questions. You have from now until October 22nd to review what's been put in front of you, make any questions, comments, and then decide when you actually vote it in. Today is just the public hearing.
Just the public hearing. Gotcha. All right, with that then, the public hearing is closed. I'm closing the floor for that. And moving forward with the agenda, item 5, approval of minutes. A, August 27th, 2025, Town Council meeting for approval of minutes.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion. I have a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 6, agenda item. A, financial matters of the corporation.
Mr. President, do you want to give a minute as it empties out, just for anyone who's listening at home? I don't really, or make a statement.
Just speak up. Let's move it.
According to our timeline.
Everyone, we're still conducting the town business.
Hey, keep it down!
If you want to talk,
Come on!
could you please go outside to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, great example.
Well, then maybe you should be quiet. Let people talk.
Item 6, agenda items.
Come on.
A, financial matters of the corporation. 1, request to purchase. There are a total of 4 requests to purchase, and the combined total of $25,716.32 for approval. Beth, would you like to comment on the request to purchase?
Sure, you have one to J&M Equipment Service and Repair. This is emergency repair on fire engine 7511 in the amount of $4,092.48. Superior Engine Service for brake and suspension repair for truck number 428 in the amount of $7,572.34. Another to Superior Pumping Services for pump replacement of lift station number 15 in the amount of $5,840.50. And then the last one to Red Bud Landscape for Town Hall Landscaping and Public Safety Landscaping in the amount of $8,211. And that's all of them.
Thank you for that, Beth. Do I have a motion to the request to purchase for $25,716.32?
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Number 2, accounts payable voucher dated September 10th, 2025, representing payment for payroll, supplies, services, and equipment rendered to the town of St. John at a combined total of $1,315,369.46. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Let's pay the bills.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 7, ordinances, resolutions. We don't have any at this time. Item 8, town council action. Motion to accept a letter of credit for Preserve SJ LLC in the amount of $121,000. Do I have a motion?
Motion to give me the letter of credit.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Item B, motion to approve use variance for the use of gas station with a drive-through at 8575 south of Wicker Avenue. Favorable recommendation from the BZA. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
We're talking about Gus's, right?
No, this is 85th and 41.
Oh, this is,
Yeah, down there by Bingo.
I'll second.
oh, yeah. On bingo.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Public comment for the agenda. I have a Marcia Holtz.
She signed the wrong sheet.
Okay, maybe she signed twice. Ken Kleins? TJ Wilson?
TJ Wilson. My address is 1512 Tiffany Court, Lowell, Indiana. I'm here on behalf of the fire department. For those of you that remember, I'm the union president of Local 5136. I'm just here today to invite Mr. Minisopoulos, Mrs. Hernandez, the whole entire town council to the open house for the fire department, which is Saturday, October 4th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. As the town continues to grow, population increases, more businesses come in, it's important to us that the town, as well as the town council, and everybody involved in the town get to know the 14 full-time firefighters that serve the almost 25,000 residents of St. John. We want you and the residents both to understand how we operate and why we consider ourselves the best fire department in Northwest Indiana. We look forward to seeing the public as well as members of the town council there. Thank you.
Thank you, TJ. Appreciate you. Number 10, Doug Blocker.
Doug Blocker, 10591 Juniper Lane, St. John. Mayor, this past spring at your coffee that we had this morning at or that morning in the spring at the bagel shop, I brought up the issue of regarding the $100,000 sign that the town spent for putting a new sign up at 96 and Joliet Road, that the letter 0 is crooked. I'm just wondering if, I'm assuming that that's okay with the town board on the quality of that work or whatever, so.
So it's just, and I don't want to take up any of your 3 minutes, that is the font that we chose, and it's not crooked.
It's not crooked?
No. But if it helps, you can kind of go like this.
That's what you have to do, I guess. Another item, 1 year and 9 months ago, the Plan Commission made a recommendation to the town council to amend the subdivision ordinance. I'm just wondering why that hasn't been acted on. I believe all the recommendations were made by staff to amend those ordinance, and I'm assuming that the developers are spending years saying, no, it's going to cost us more money. So don't just bury it. Third item I got is in the gates of St. John, there's numerous public sidewalks still missing. I'm just wondering when the board's going to make Mr. Lawton put those sidewalks in. They include but not limit to the roundabout at 107th and Park Place, east side of Park Place in front of the church and in front of the retention areas, south side of 105th between Juniper Lane and Klein Avenue, east side of Klein Avenue across the entire frontage, south side of 101st Street across the entire frontage there. I mean, I'm sure if you ride through, there's more. But I think the developers have had long enough to put those in. I'm sure the board doesn't even have bonds to cover those, so hopefully you could twist his arm or give him higher density to get those put in. Third item I got is, I know I had the public comment regarding this last development, but in the contract that I read regarding the wells, the way I read it, he only has to provide property for one well and one treatment facility. No water, there's not for 4 wells, it's not for a water tower, it's only one well and one treatment facility. So quit telling everybody he's going to give us 4 wells when the contract that's been signed doesn't say 4 wells, a water tower, and a treatment facility. So I don't know what you guys are doing, but I think you need to look at that, and I think it's the terrible plan that you guys are approving, especially since he can't develop it until water's in. Well, who's paying for the water? The town has to pay for a water, and I believe you have to have a water tower there in case the well goes down to provide water. So how many millions are you going to spend in putting up a water tower and a well just for that development?
Thank you. There was a Judith on the list. Judith? All right, then Terry Nelman?
Usually you call my last name, but no problem. If you give me a
I
second, I just record everything for, to be clerical. Hi, my name is Terry Nelman. I live at 9500 West 103rd Place, St. John. Resident here for 25 years, not at that house. This is more of a public comment in general, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Naturally, I'm here because of Lennar, Lawton, and the building commissioner. It's a statement. I'm not going to get into conversation, so Lawton has been documented to bring me in court to cover up the Lennar structurally dangerous homes. Now, Lennar is part of this issue with this new 168 acres. With that said, you're going to have another, you got the developer, you're going to have another builder, like we had Lennar in the gates of St. John, predominantly Cypress gates and all the vacant lots they bought. They developed it, Lawton built it, Lawton went on. What's the next problem with Lawton at the Astoria thing? Lawton and the builder, Lennar, they build the way they want it. It's definitely unsafe. It's definitely structurally deficient. And yet, nobody wants to come and see to the home, our home, which has been an open invitation for the whole board. The whole board. With that said, Lawton should not be able to continue this, especially if it's having anything to do with Lennar. So, with that said, I have to repeat myself. Lawton is a danger to the homeowners. I can prove that with him bringing me into court. I have the court documents. If you want, sir, you know, there was no conviction or whatever. Mr. Jorgensen, I'm sorry, I was looking at, I was looking at you. That's okay, that's not a problem. But I do have the court records of Lawton bringing me into court to cover up the dangerous homes that Lennar is building. With that said, you are cordially invited to see my home again, what the building commissioner has passed to be for a permit, for an occupancy permit. With that said, I thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next meeting. I was not able to be at the other meetings because it was summer. Obligation to my wife, obligation to my grandkids, obligation to a lot of other things. So I wasn't able to be here. But again, I'm here, I'll be back. Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen, for the wave. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all we have for public comment.
Could I speak, please? I know I wasn't on the list, but several questions came up from this previous.
Sure, if you want to make a comment.
My name again is Donna Fathke, and I'm at still 10729 Maple Lane, St. John. Couple of questions I don't expect you to answer, but by all means, if you'd like to answer, please do. The Exhibit A for the 1870 ordinance, we just got yesterday. There's a date on it that says that it was revised on September 3rd, which was last week sometime. You've already had a reading on this ordinance way back in August. You didn't even have the entire document, and you had the first reading? I think that's not quite cricket. Jerry, you mentioned that, and I'm not sure I got this right, that if they're in unincorporated Lake County, if there was a rezoning of a piece of land, that the surrounding neighbors would have to be notified? Did I get that correct?
I didn't say unincorporated, I was just clarifying the different laws between what is a rezoning and what is annexation.
Okay, so I'm not sure what that's all about, if they need to be treated as second-class citizens on a rezoning or not, but that's something I'm certainly going to look into. You may want to as well. I also asked you to consider very, very heavily Rick Niemeyer's input into this. He was the originator of this bill that you all are using to do the annexation and the water rights on this piece of property. I think he knows what he intended to write, and he has been in contact with state-level GOP lawyers, and they came out against this. I think you need to consider this because there's a lot of people that are not behind this development.
And you know what, quite frankly, you're absolutely right, Niemeyer did. And he had a legal assistant, of course, write it, but that's the problem with legislation, is that he might have intended to do something, and it just didn't translate into law.
Well, it would be nice if you guys went with the spirit of it rather than trying to turn it around to your favor for whatever reasons.
Well, his spirit might not necessarily be ours.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. You've made that very clear today. At any rate, I do ask you to give heavy consideration to what the originator of that bill meant. Oh, and one last one thing, Billy. Where is the documentation? I've been asking you for several weeks. Do I need to come and talk to you to clarify what exactly it is that I'm looking for?
No, you don't. I received your request, and it will be done in a timely fashion. Again, you're not the only FOI that's come in. There's been several, and a lot of them dating back to 2016, so on and so forth. So that does take some time to get together. It's not my only responsibility during the day, but you are very important, and it will be done as soon as I can.
Okay, it's been about a month now.
What's that?
It's been about a month.
You received a whole file a couple weeks ago.
Minus, you didn't supply the whole thing.
Again, I'm getting everything together when you
All right.
ask for
Just
specifics.
want to make it clear.
Thank you.
Okay. There was one last thing that just jumped into my head. Oh, I do urge you to be more transparent. There is no reason why we didn't have the agenda for today until right before the meeting. We didn't even know if the public hearing was going to happen today because we had just seen that letter last Friday that Ned sent out. We've been searching for weeks for documentation and cannot find it. There is no reason why that ordinance 1870 shouldn't have all documentation readily available to us as citizens. That's an important thing. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'd like to speak. Katie Hegg, 11600 Calumet Avenue. The lawyer that walked out of this room with Lawton's representative, Steve Kill, stated that St. John is not attempting to annex portions of Cedar Lake and the nearby unincorporated land. Then why is annexation of those areas on your comprehensive plan? That plan was not on your site. I had to call and ask Ashley Abernathy to post the plan. I know that plan is from 2017, but it does show a plan to annex these areas. If it is outdated, then when does the town plan to rework this plan? Also, Christian Jorgensen, I would ask that at future meetings, you please behave in a professional manner.
Hey, you know what, please.
Crowds get worked up, and it is your job to maintain your composure.
And we're
I was
doing
a
that.
teacher,
We're doing
and the
that.
students became quite rowdy. Never did I scream or belittle them.
Well, unfortunately, you couldn't all hear because we have too many rude people speaking over other people. So if people would hold their decorum and the adults would actually be quiet during a public meeting, there wouldn't be a need for me to raise my voice so you could actually hear me. So I'm sure you've experienced that in the classroom as well. Certainly I have with 3 of my kids.
All right, moving on to reports and correspondences, number 10. Anything from the council?
I would just like to thank all those who showed up today to view the proceedings and also those that were willing to speak, and especially like to thank Tiffany for her moment of prayer. That's all.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to, excuse me, say a shout out to Public Works. There was last year and this year, I'm going to call it a snowplow competition. Last year, 2 of our guys got involved with that, and they took second place. This year, they took first place. So it's a course set up for plowing snow between cones, and they came in first place, which is good. Wells 8 and 9, they're on schedule. They're going good. Well 7 is being rebuilt right now, and well 5, there's a slight problem with it, but it's just a motor that they can get that fixed relatively soon, and everything else is going good.
Thank you. I'd just like to comment that I agree. I think it's awesome that people engage, that they come out. I think that's fantastic, that people voice their concerns, their opinions. We respect what everybody says. We hear you. I will say, like for myself, and I believe a majority of this council, we do put the town of St. John first. That is our focus, that is our priority. And TJ, I want to thank you personally and everyone else for coming to the meeting and inviting us. And along with that, I heard some comments about people saying having a meeting in the morning. I think not a lot of councils have morning meetings, but we do that to facilitate transparency and make it convenient so everybody can be here. We get a lot of seniors that want to come, and we also have night meetings. We have morning and night. So just wanted to comment on that. Any other comments? If not, then I'd like to go to the town manager
No reports at this time, thank you.
and our clerk treasurer, Beth.
I just wanted to comment quickly on the release of documents. I know many of you in the room have requested documents, and of course, that comes through the clerk treasurer's office. And I want to just make sure that it's stated, in no way, shape, or form have we withheld anything that we've had in our possession, and we take real priority in making sure that we release what we have as quickly as possible. And I know that Exhibit A was, a source of contention, I guess, for lack of a better word, but I want to let everybody know I did not receive that document until yesterday, at which time it was immediately released to everybody who had requested it. It's just important to me that people don't have a perception that I would withhold like public records. I just don't do that. So that kind of bothered me a little because I know it's my office that you have to come to get them, but if I don't have them, then I can't release them. So it's just important for me to make sure that everybody understands that I would not withhold a public document. And as soon as I had it, I did release it, so.
All right, thank you, Beth. Moving to item 11.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, I have a motion, I have a second. Second. I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor, say aye.